Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. I am Tegan Bartos, founder of Jolt Your Career. And today I am going to be talking about stress with none other than my massage therapist. Because I don't know about you, but come holiday season time, I get pretty tense right here and it can be a little overwhelming. And so today we are going to have a fun, lighthearted conversation talking about some pretty stressful topics. So let me go ahead and bring in yours truly. Oh, let me fix it. Good morning, Maureen.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, thank you. All right, Maureen. So I know you, but nobody else does it. Okay, so first of all, for those of you tuning in, I just switched from StreamYard to Restream because it has all these different features. So, Maureen, we can look like this.
Okay.
And I got the orange for Thanksgiving. Shout out to
Nice.
for at least in America, it's Thanksgiving. Let's see how else we can have it be done. Boom. Let's go ahead and use this one. All right, Maureen, go ahead and tell people about your background.
Okay. So I'm been a licensed massage therapist for the past 12 years. And I kind of just fell in love with the work. It kind of just happened to stumble across my path of ways for me to help pay it forward for all the self-care that I received during my undue time of need.
Yep. So when I met Maureen, it was at Lifetime Fitness. So shout out to everybody at Lifetime. And I had several different massage therapists work on me before, but Maureen does some pretty cool things. So, what are the different modalities of work that you do between body and skin?
Okay, so I specialize in deep tissue work, but also orthopedic massage therapy, as well as I enjoy giving upgrades such as like the Himalayan salt stone massage and silicone cupping. I believe in the Eastern method versus the Western method, because the Eastern method actually sends a dual purpose because they're stationary. And when they're lined up along your spinal column on both sides, they're actually signaling to the central nervous system that they're there to help, not hurt. And by doing that, your anxiety and depression that's underlying kind of fizzles away. Sometimes you cry on my table, and that's all dependent on the experience. So it could be psychologically crying, or it could be, oh, that's a really sore spot.
Yeah. Yep.
So it all depends on the client and what they're dealing with. But I really like focusing on the clients that come in because they base their self-care as a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're here to talk about today. For those of you who are on your job search or not on your job search, it doesn't really matter. The holiday season typically is stressful, whether that's exciting stress or bad stress. So, thinking about cooking large meals may be exciting for some, may be financially stressful for others. The idea of spending time with family may be exciting for some, stressful for others. Not because of COVID, not being able to go around family, it can be really sad for some people. And then, especially for those who are on their job search, the additional pressure is just, it's a lot. And so, something that Maureen and I chatted about was how the idea of self-care in itself can actually be stressful. So, how to
Yes.
add it into your schedule. So, Maureen, not only do you do massage therapy work, but you also, have different fitness groups and things like that you participate in for accountability and motivation. So how do you recommend people figure out how to, how to get self-care onto their schedule?
It actually is, for a lot of people, it's incredibly hard to think about yourself. But in order to serve others like I do, the best thing to do is make sure that your cup is full, some people say, or overflowing for that matter. So you have help to give to others, because there is nothing more rewarding than helping others and serving others, if you ask me. And so a lot of my focus groups, a lot of people aren't ready to come back to the club. And for those people, I do have a tendency of working out online with them.
Okay.
And everybody lives different kinds of stressful lives, regardless of if it's in lines in terms of grieving over something like the loss of a job, the loss of a family member, the loss of a long-term relationship. I provide free self-care tip Friday videos for people that follow me. And my two biggest ones were the self-care tips about grieving, as well as the self-care tips about defining self-care.
Yeah.
Because it does add yet another thing to your plate that you have to think about doing that day. So I was doing this program that's offered by my club. It's an online program, and it was called Fit and Focused. So for those 6 weeks, I wasn't working out at the club. I was working out at home. And what I realized was a lot of these people were undergoing so much stress and anxiety that the best thing for me to do was to find like a nice, soothing, stretching video to complete after our strenuous workouts. And it would have nice music in the background, and it would give you 10 minutes to collect your thoughts without anybody else talking at you or with you, or you talking at anybody. So it actually benefited a lot of people because they were able to sleep better at night. They were able to say, hey, I did this for me, without feeling like they were pressuring themselves to do anything for them. So they received a lot of benefit from that.
Isn't that such a tricky thing about like gender stereotypes? It's really, really difficult for some people, regardless of gender, to put themselves first.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
like you said, you can't continue to give and help others unless your cup is full, or like you said, overflowing. And so that's awesome that you found ways to accommodate, individuals who did want to focus on their health with the online courses. So
Yeah,
so how to fit it into your schedule, get creative. You don't have to go
absolutely.
someplace. You can do it online. Schedule it in, literally put 5 minutes on your schedule to do a lap around your house or around the block or whatever.
Yes.
Um, keep it short. If you only think, oh, I don't have time to do this, then only do it for 5 minutes. You can spare five
Yeah.
minutes and
Or
then work your way
even
up.
or even just get inside your head and think about three things that you're grateful for. And if it's at the end of the day and you're running ragged and thoughts are going through your head when your head hits the pillow, think of
Mhm.
the three things that you missed out on doing today, but you might be able to do that tomorrow. And if you can't, it doesn't mean it's not going to get done. It just means it didn't take priority over other things that serve purpose.
I love that tip of yours, the breathing exercises at night. Can you explain how to do that, where
Sure.
your technique for finishing off the night so you can get a good night's worth of sleep?
Sure. So I actually carried this on from about 15 years ago, I got in this traumatic car accident, and that's what led me into massage therapy. So when I came back I lived in Memphis, Tennessee at the time. When I came back up to Chicago, my mom's house was too big for me to stay in, and my sister opened her house to me. She had 2 toddlers at the time. And so that was challenging for everybody. It was challenging for the oldest daughter, who was 3. And it was challenging for me because she would always beat me to the bathroom. She'd know when I would like finally make it to the corner, and she'd bolt in front of me and like claim her territory. I mean, we just, you know what? And I'm probably the closest with them in the group of nieces and nephews because I had to live with them. We were put in that situation. And what we would do every night is we would say our evening prayers, and we would say, since they were toddlers, we would say one thing we were sorry for that day and one thing we were grateful for. And we couldn't repeat what we said in other nights. We really had to think about it. And so what I started doing once I started putting myself first, because I realized once I transitioned from working for a place for about 6.5 to 7 years, I realized that transitioning into life spa was really difficult for me because I was a big fish, but I was in a bigger pond. And I had to learn a whole lot of self-love and figure out how to do this and how to ride the wave.
Yeah.
And once I started practicing deep breathing at night, so I would inhale for 4, hold the breath for 4, and exhale for 4, like for a count of 4. And when you're doing that, think of something that you're grateful for. And then when you hold for 4 and exhale for 4, think of something that you're sorry for, that you either missed out on today, or, you know, it didn't make your deck of cards of what you were supposed to do. You know, to me, when that happens, it means it wasn't that important to get done. So I do that every night because I feel that sleep is incredibly important for self-care. And I know that's hard to do when you have young children. But once I started practicing gratitude and practicing what if I had any regrets that day or that week, I started sleeping better. Yeah. And it literally takes me 3 minutes to do, and I'm out for the rest of the night. So even if you can't, give yourself the time to get a massage or get a hydrofacial or get your nails done, something that you enjoy doing, get a workout in. If you don't have time for that, give yourself 5 minutes before you hit the pillow to express gratitude for what you were grateful for that happened today.
Yeah, what I use is I literally put notebooks all over my house.
Absolutely.
And so during the day I work, but for a solid 3 hours in the evening, I want no tech time. I just want to be present in the moment with my son, with my husband, with my dog, with whoever I'm with. Absolutely. But if I think of something, I can't get it out of my head. So I'll jot down notes and then come back to it later. Great. And then I also have like an intention journal. And so it has prompts. How did you take care of yourself today? A good thing that happened was something you're grateful for. Summarize today in 1 word. But I like how you incorporate something that you missed out on, because guilt weighs heavy on people, or something that you're sorry for.
It can keep you
maybe
up
if I snapped at my dog because he passed gas while I was like on a client call, and the client was like, "Oh, you feeling okay?" It's like, Oh, and I felt so bad afterwards because he's a dog, but it was embarrassing for me, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. And that's when you think about it. That's when it eats at you while you're trying to sleep, and then you don't sleep well. So I love that tip. And I want to circle back to something that you said.
Mhm.
You made a career pivot. You went from
Oh, yeah.
doing something to something else, and it was difficult.
It was.
So when people are in a career transition, whether that be switching fields or just switching companies, you
Right.
said you were a big fish, but then you went to a bigger pond.
Yes.
Those are the exact type of clients that I work with. People, ambitious professionals who are looking to level up.
Right.
More often than not, they're really great at what they do, but they want to go to a larger organization, or go to a larger or a smaller organization but have a larger title, whatever may be true for them.
Right.
And it's
Right.
difficult, and that self-sabotage kicks in, and you start having all these negative thoughts, and some of those things make a difference. And real quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Carl and Orlando. What's up, guys? Okay, so sometimes when we're transitioning in our careers or we're on a job search, three things that's really important for me is to be true to you. So when you start to doubt yourself, have a brag book and say, like, this is what I'm good at. I may be unemployed right now, but I know I could crush this. I just, need to be given the opportunity to prove it at a new place.
Right.
To make time for you. So often we don't make time for our self-care, and it's stressful to even figure out a time to get it worked in. But if we don't, we pay for it. I know if I don't take my afternoon walk, one, my dog is going to cry because he wants to go on his walk. And then two, the nature, the fresh air, it stifles my creativity. Like I get blockers if I don't do my walks. Like if it's been raining or super, super cold, I feel that difference. And it's not a long walk, maybe 10 minutes. And one huge thing that I see job seekers struggle with is creating healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Some people think, oh, well, you're unemployed. Now you just have so much time to do this, this, and that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Finding a job is a full-time job, and the
Absolutely.
emotional drain, it's difficult. So what were some of the other things when you did your transition, and eventually landed? It was a whole nother set of worms of how do I
It was a
adjust?
huge can of worms. But it brought me back to why I got into the field to begin with. Because I did work in corporate America at one point in time. And I worked for the education system at one point in time. And those were very, very busy fields. You were pretty much always on demand, and
Yeah.
you could never, it was very hard to unplug from the job and give the time for yourself and take the time, because they would always find you wherever you were. But it was, for me, I'm a God girl, so I believe in God. And the thing was, as tragic as the car accident was, and it brought me a lot of physical limitations, and it brought me, it actually put me in a different position, because I used to be able to handle 20 conversations at a time. I come from a large family. And for the first time in my life, I experienced traumatic brain injury,
Yeah.
where it was in the frontal lobe. Uh, and it's very hard to process multiple conversations at once. It and if people interrupt me, I need to start the story all over again from scratch, because I don't know where it left off. So some of my stories are longer than they need to be, and that's because people interrupt me. I had to figure out a career that I can get into that I was passionate about after my car accident that would make me feel like it served a purpose. And I needed to get back to a place where I wasn't surrounded by having 10 bosses. I would be one-on-one helping someone else out. Because there is nothing more rewarding than giving help or hope to a person that's in need of it, if you ask me. So I'm actually really glad that my life turned out the way that it did, because I realized that I have more gifts to give people because I am serving my purpose of paying it forward to others. And I'm absolutely fascinated with the human body. And most people that get injured are fascinated with like how fast they can heal, if they can heal faster, especially if they have the competitive edge. And so I just, what I would do when I took the position from Lifetime was I had to reflect back to, however long ago. It was probably 12 years at that point. And what did I do back then? I practiced patience. I practiced trying to find a different way in. And so I found mentors on LinkedIn and would just watch them once a week. They'd either have videos out there or they'd post something. And I'd really take my time to reflect on what they were saying and how I can incorporate it into driving business to Life Spa. And then the pandemic happened, and that just opened up a whole new can of worms because now I can't help people. So, 3 months after the pandemic hit and the club was reopened and I went back to work, there were plenty of people that wanted to get back on my table, but a lot of people were still scared. I mean, the social distance, there is no way you can practice 6 feet of separation when you're touching a human body. You can't do it. So
You're not as long as the Bears players.
Right, exactly. Like, no, and they're the hardest to work on. But they're so much fun, So,
yeah, one thing that's really cool about the location that Maureen works at is she works on all the football players, and it's really cool to like see them, like, oh, they're real people.
Yeah,
not just football
they
players.
Actually have real people in real lives, and like
Yep. So for people who are completely lost in their job search right now,
yes,
don't even know what they want to do, you just gave them $1 million tip. Dig deep within yourself. Think about what you used to do for fun, what brings you joy, what aligns with your values. Maureen shared that she's spiritual. She's led by helping people, making the world a better place, healing people. That is such a deeply rooted value to her. And also she's aware of her weaknesses. The damage that occurred made it so that going back to what she used to do, she wouldn't be as effective at. However, she figured out something that she could do and be incredibly successful at, because when you're in the massage room, it's just you and the other person and the body. And, she learned through her injuries more about it, became interested in it, and made a career out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's, so many people are so frozen in, I don't know what to do next. My interest can't make money. But sometimes there's just like, here, I think you can't probably see this, but it's a little thin piece of one of my curls. I straightened my hair, but this one's still curly.
It's just your hair, and I curled my hair for you.
I have I have a poppy sticker on my camera to remind me to look at my camera and not my screen. And so I look
It's
at
actually
poppy
a
when
really good idea.
There's another tip for you when you're doing your video interviews. Put
Yeah,
a poppy
absolutely.
sticker.
Like these are things you don't think of, you know.
And
So,
that's what I love doing about these lives is because we don't really prep for them, right? We have an
no.
organic flowing conversation and it goes where it goes. Like I never would have thought that we would have gotten so deep into how to really find yourself. And after going through something so traumatic
Yeah,
and having to rehabilitate yourself to the point where you could function again, and then get to the point where it's like, okay, I need to get back to work. How do you start up when you know you can't go back to what you were doing before? And that can
right.
be so stressful. um and I know that there's people out there that are experiencing something similar right now that can benefit from this conversation. So I appreciate you sharing such a traumatic event with us and
Yes.
how you pivoted, gained strength,
Yes.
found motivation, live in gratitude, work through your values, and gave so many actionable tips. Fill your cup, let it overflow, schedule some time, do
Right.
the gratitude breathing at night. What else would you like to share? Okay, well, first of all, if you're in the Chicagoland area, Maureen is the shit. And so how can people find you? What day are you working now?
Okay, so I'm working on Saturdays
Okay.
at Life Spa, which is attached to Lifetime in Vernon Hills, Illinois. And so they'd be able to schedule an appointment with me there. I do have the links. How do I share them on the comments for people?
We'll
Or can
have to
I
do
do
it.
that
You'll
on
have to do it on like your actual mobile app. You can't do it while you're behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um okay, so book at Lifetime Fitness. What if they
Yeah.
want to join you online? How does that work?
What if they want to join me online?
Like
As
how you
in,
got your like last night, how you did your fitness group?
oh, yeah, just let me know if you wanna do at home fitness. I mean, that's just something I enjoy doing. Because sometimes I can't make it to the club on time.
Yeah.
And really, one of the things that I would like people to focus on is how I found myself into the massage therapy field is I I was surrounded by helpers. So you have to find your helpers. I received pro bono physical therapy, massage therapy. I received pro bono neurological work. Um, and it really drove me to the sense that I need to pay it forward somehow because there is no way I would have made it through all of those injuries and especially the family support, the friend support that I had at the time. All of that helped so much in order for me to even be able to walk in 9 months. Um, and so that was my drive to find what I can do and how I can help because I've always wanted to help people. I just didn't know how. And you give yourself enough time. Like apparently, God thought I needed to sit down for a couple of months, and collect my thoughts. I don't know. I don't know why it happened. It just happened, and I couldn't be more grateful than it did. Um,
I love that. All right. So if you are dealing with a difficult time, there's lots of different ways to practice self-care.
mhm.
Um, mindset, really digging into the mindset of thinking, hey, I don't know why this happened to me. Maybe a death, maybe an injury, maybe um, job loss. But it's okay because there's something better coming for me. And I can talk to person after person who will tell you the same thing. Bad things happen because good things are right around the corner. Maureen could not emphasize enough having that tribe, she's talked about going on LinkedIn and finding mentors and watching their videos and engaging with them. Leveraging your existing network. Don't be afraid to ask for help and support. Use it.
Absolutely.
That's what people want to do when they know, like, and love you. They want to be a resource for you. Take time for yourself during the day and the evening, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. And so, Maureen, I love your tip on leveraging your tribe and creating a really solid tribe, because you are in a it's like the 5 people you're around yourself with, right? My
Absolutely.
tip that I want to end off on is unplug at the end of the day to spend time with your family, friends, loved ones, yourself, whatever.
Absolutely.
Because sleep is the best self-care. And when you're stressed, you don't get quality sleep. And a good night's sleep can completely change your perspective. Because if you're on your job search, you may not notice it, but your stress and anxiety come through when you interview. Your tone, your posture, your facial expressions, your bags, all of those things. And it does make a difference when it comes time to you getting the offer extended to you or to someone else. So,
Absolutely.
Maureen, thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to have to come see you very soon. Oh, and for those of you who want self-care tips like this one.
That's called the Rest Tech.
Okay, what's it called?
Rest Tech, RESTECK, I believe, or TEK. It's on one of my self-care tips.
Yes, and it's got these things in it, so you can literally get to like any spot on you, and it's, oh my gosh, it feels so good.
Yes.
Okay.
So my thing is connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Maureen Fitzgerald. If you don't have LinkedIn, connect with me on Instagram. I'm under Massage by Maureen. And that's actually an easier way to find the self-care tip Friday videos that pertain to what aches you the most. It could be like tips on stresses that you can do. I basically made those videos for people to get comfortable until they get comfortable coming to me, ways to ease their physical pains.
Yeah, and just in between sessions, like if you sleep wonky, it's like, this is going to work this knot in my shoulder blade out enough until I can come see you. All right, so
we'll get you
for those of you tuning in from Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I appreciate you. I'm not on Instagram, but Maureen is, so be sure to check out her Friday self-care tips, because they are amazing. Her stretching videos literally made it so I could do the splits again. So highly recommend her self-care Friday tips for everybody tuning in. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the US. Appreciate all of you.
Absolutely. Thank you.